Hi there. We're coming into Nelson Street in Annandale, and I'd like to talk to you about something that's potentially going to happen here that has heritage implications for our street and our neighbourhood. So here's our street. If you know it, it's a cliff on one side with houses on the top, and then the lower houses on this eastern side of the street. The house in question is this house, 307 Nelson Street Annandale. Let me just take you out again so you can have another look at it and get a sense of its history. Actually, you can tell its history just by looking at it. It lives its history. This is a timber house that dates back to the 1870s. When this suburb first developed, this part, that was a normal block size. That's 10 metres across. What you're seeing here, the 5-metre terraces on either side, that came afterwards. It's because when this suburb first opened up, it turned out that people didn't want to buy or could not afford to buy properties that were on 10 metres and those allotments. So they had to change their plans. And later on they did, about like 12 years afterwards. And that's how we got our 5-metre frontages all the way down. And that's why 10-metre frontages are so rare in this suburb and need to be kept for the sake of our heritage. So how is it that this building could be in threat of being demolished? I mean, how can council allow that to happen? It just seems incredible, doesn't it? A house that goes right back to the start of our neighbourhood's, our precinct's history. There it is. Okay, well, there is a reason, and here it is. So the story of Nelson Street, to really put it into perspective, you have to realise that back in the 1970s, this street was going to be a major thoroughfare from the Crescent down that end of the street to Parramatta Road up that end of the street. Now you've already seen the cliff over here and the houses built on top. If you're going to widen this street, you're not going to undertake, you know, all the earthworks to widen it by hacking into that cliff. You buy all the houses on this side of the street and you demolish them and then build your wide street all the way along. But that didn't happen, and I'm going to show you what stopped it. Let's go down this way. It's a little bit of our local history, but it's pretty cool. So we're approaching the viaduct. This is an iconic structure in Annandale, and it goes across large tracts of the suburb. And it is the oldest steel reinforced structure in Australia. There's even a mural over here that's based on a famous photo from back in the day that shows you what it was like and the lack of houses around it. So this is a very old structure, and that's what stopped Nelson Street from being widened, and why all the houses that had been resumed by the Department of Main Roads back in the day, why they went back on sale and people bought them, and that included my wife and myself. We bought an absolute dump because they had been so run down. So down the middle of this street was the Heritage Conservation Area border. It saved the houses on this side, but not the houses on that side. This is how these houses were up for demolition. When the developer at 307 Nelson Street realised that there was no protection on his property, he got a CDC demolition order outside of council. All he had to do was show that there was no heritage value to the house, no concerns about demolishing this house. And technically there wasn't. So he worked out a legal loophole. That happened in 2015. the middle of last year, during the pandemic, that CDC expired. They only last 5 years. And 2 months after it expired, he put in a DA for 2 townhouses to go in here. Council, in their first pass, objected to his designs, and they objected to him demolishing the property. But he claimed he had a legal CDC demolition order. He claimed that the laws created around the COVID pandemic meant to assist development applications, you know, building things and helping with constructing things, applied to his CDC, his demolition order. But the situation is not quite that clear, I'm afraid. Communications from New South Wales Planning has come through to my wife and myself, and it clearly says that the suite of laws that haven't been repealed during COVID, that determine that CDCs expire at 5 years, that CDCs expire at 5 years, are still in place and supersede COVID laws around development applications. Now, you think council would jump on that and there wouldn't be any doubt about this place being demolished. And here's another thing about council. This precinct, this heritage conservation area footprint was eventually extended to take in these homes. They started that process in 2017. And do you know, at council, they actually cited the property at 307 Nelson Street as one of the key contributors to them wanting to do that. That's on record. We got a letter from council that said that. So they know the heritage value of this property because it started the whole process of this precinct being extended and all these homes falling under the local heritage conservation area and all the guidelines and restrictions that go into that. So my question is, will this council be about heritage or will it be about development? Are individual councillors even aware that this is what's happening under their watch? That a planning panel that was part of the development process has actually given go-ahead to this and not looked into the legality, the full ramifications of the CDC demolition order expiring? Well, now you do. Councillors, now you do. And please, we need you, for the sake of the local area, to do something. So if it's a petition or if it's me coming around with a handwritten petition, please protect this house. Please protect our heritage. Nelson Street has a history of heritage defeating development, and in this instance, I hope that's the case again. So, let's save 307 Nelson Street, Annandale, from demolition.